Canada has become a violent third world shithole.
I want to show you what's going on outside the passport office in Canada.
Somebody come look this shit! What I want!
Do you think it's fair for white Canadians to be afraid of becoming minorities?
I want Canada to be what Canada used to be a decade ago, not this third world shithole.
People keep on asking me, why leave Canada to live in a third world country? And my answer is this.
So you're telling me that India tops the charts for asylum claims in Canada?
People in the streets that committing crime left, right, and center. Nobody can afford vegetables.
Tim Hortons owners, why you do not hire Canadian?
Welcome to the Canadian Rant. Canada, our Canada, has become what we never imagined. A nation that once stood for prosperity, dignity, and opportunity is now looking more and more like a third world country. And it hurts to even say it. We were the country the world admired. Now we're the country people pity, empty pockets, broken systems, crumbling cities, food banks overflowing while grocery CEOs get richer, healthcare collapsing while citizens wait months just to see a doctor, families working 2 jobs and still living paycheck to paycheck, people leaving the country because they just can't afford to live here anymore. This isn't the Canada we were promised. This isn't the Canada our parents worked for. And the scariest part? It's getting worse, not better. So today, we're going to talk about the cold reality everyone feels, but few are brave enough to say out loud, Canada is becoming a third world country. And if nobody speaks up, then nothing will ever change. Stay with me, because every Canadian deserves to hear this.
Why is it that if I mention immigration, the volume of people coming in, the culture of the people coming in, anything at all, I'm instantly labeled a racist? But if I was to make a comment like, we're getting so many immigrants, we're actually losing our cultural identity, then I'm labeled a racist. How come I feel, and this is just my feeling, you tell me how you feel, but I feel like if I make a comment on any other race, good or bad, just a comment, I'm a racist, okay? But if I try to support my culture and my race, I'm some kind of a supremacist or something. I'm wrong. I'm not allowed to be proud of who I am or the culture that I have or anything to that effect. Why is that?
So you're telling me that India tops the charts for asylum claims in Canada ahead of Haiti, Iran, Ukraine, Nigeria, war-torn countries? Really? India is actually the world's largest democracy. They're not under a dictatorship, they're not in the middle of a war, they're not collapsing, like Venezuela, as an example. So why are more refugee claims coming from India than anywhere else in the world? Well, the answer to that is quite simple. The system is being gamed. Consultants are coaching students and temporary workers. In fact, they post about it on social media even. And when their visas expire, suddenly they're refugees. Nothing about this is anti-immigration. Everything about this is pro-truth, pro-Canada, and pro-real refugees.
Canada has become a violent third world shithole. If I could give you any advice at all, it'd be to learn how to fight, learn combat skills. You're gonna need them because nobody is coming to save you. The cops already told you they've got other priorities. They'd rather protect politicians than Canadian citizens.
I can't believe. I'm shocking. I'm terrified. Like, seriously? I think this is hoggish. Somebody come look this shit! What I want!
Right now, Canada's seeing the biggest e-migration, which is Canadians leaving,
Yeah, that's what I'm
since
saying.
1965.
82,000 last year. 82,000 people have left.
I want Canada to be what Canada used to be a decade ago, not this third world shithole. I don't recognize it anymore, man. I've just gotten to the point where I'm not going to fix it. There's nothing I can say that'll change it. I've given up. We have a voicemail line. Please call it if you have any advice or if you disagree.
People keep on asking me, why leave Canada to live in a third world country? And my answer is this. This is day 2 in trying to make $4,000 as an ex-Canadian in Mexico. The truth is, Canada sucks. This is based on someone who's grown up in Canada for over 17 years of my life. Don't get me wrong, I'm grateful for being raised in a G7 country. When I was growing up, Canada was a great place for anyone seeking a better lifestyle. Sure, the real estate was expensive, but nothing compares to what it is now. I saw it change from a place of security to now a wasteland where people are scrapping by just to make a living. And I couldn't see myself living there any longer, let alone find a wife. I'm not the only one. So based on the house prices, low employment rate, and overall loss of culture, I decided to take a risk. A risk that will hopefully find a wife, a well-paying sales job, and a comfortable lifestyle. What's your thoughts? Did I make the right choice?
Criminals, yes, 23, break into this Toronto dealership to steal all their vehicles. Look at them flooding in. I cannot believe my eyes. Look at what you are seeing. This is what has happened to our country, where our government has prioritized the well-being of these criminals over our business owners, over our families and our children. I cannot believe what I'm seeing. Canada has devolved to a third world country. Never in my life did I think I would see this happen to Canada. But this is what we voted for. This is the crime that we are allowed to happen in our communities, in our businesses, because we treat these criminals better than we treat the victims in this country. I can't even believe my eyes. Look at the amount of people. This is a massive operation. There are people outside in getaway cars for these people. I cannot believe what I am seeing. Look at this. Now they're turning all of the vehicles on to get them out of here. And they have other people outside getting the cars ready to get jacked. Look at this. I cannot believe my eyes. The amount of business owners that have reached out to me, I can't even share every single story. Pizza shops, jewelry stores, car dealerships, hardworking Canadians trying to build a better life for their families are being terrorized by these criminals. And our government is on vacation right now, and they continue to do nothing. Absolutely zero of any material consequence to stop this madness. And these criminals continue to organize in bigger and bigger groups simply because they can. There's no consequences for their actions. They'll continue to do it because the government allows it. This is what has become of our country.
I left Canada last year. Guess that is what needs to happen to Canada. Like a third world country with low life quality, I'm very sorry for the people. I hear these types of comments all the time. People are leaving Canada. That's how bad it's gotten. Don't let anyone else gaslight you into thinking that things are okay. Things are not okay. Cost of living, rent is like $3,000. Everyone's making $100,000 a year, $120,000 a year, and they're still barely getting by. Okay, so don't let anyone fool you into thinking things are okay. Looking at the news, you're looking at people around you and stuff. Everybody's flexing. Everyone's pretending that they got money. They don't got money. They have money in their house and they got credit card debt.
Okay, this is Canada. I want to show you what's going on outside the passport office in Canada. This is how absolutely crazy this country has become, how poor the services that the Trudeau government offers. People had to camp outside the entire night. This is Canada, not a third world country here. They had to camp outside the entire night in order to be able to get passports. Look what's going on. It wraps around the building. I never even saw anything like this in my whole life. Absolutely crazy. It keeps on going. This is our government. This is what's going on. And we accept this. That's the craziest part about it. Look at this line. Is this normal? People wrapped around the entire building.
This is Montreal for you. construction zones, potholes, infrastructure just falling apart. Can't maintain shit. Look at this shit. This is what you call a first world country. And then they try to blame the immigrants. They're like, Canada has fallen. Cool story. This is like in one of the more premier areas of the city in the old port. You got hipsters like this guy that live here. Look at this shit. Yep. Blame the immigrants on social media with the misinformation. Canada has fallen bullshit. Look at this. Look how grimy this shit looks. More. Bro. Call this first world country vibes. Look at this shit. Look at the streets. Disgusting. Come on, man. People out here making fun of third world countries and shit. Like, what the fuck is this? Like, look at this shit. Disaster. This Canada has fallen bullshit. And by blaming the immigrants is like the laziest fucking racist crap I've seen in my life. Relax with that shit. Stop fucking resharing that type of content. And stop blaming the immigrants.
Canada is not Canada anymore. It's not the Canada that we once used to know. Because after 9 years where they punish your paycheck, punish you for success, and punish you for your hard work, Canada has become a place where nobody wants to live here anymore.
I love my country. I love the plains and the prairies. I love the Rocky Mountains. So much beauty, so much potential, such incredible people. It's just a shame when giving out drugs for free left and right. You got people in the streets that committing crime left, right, and center. Nobody can afford vegetables, let alone buy a house or to buy a home. And it's scary. I'm hoping for 2025 to be a big turnaround year for the country.
Gas prices are expected to go over $2 a liter. And somebody got the Winnipeg handshake right in the neck the other day. And there's been a handful of them. Like, it's getting worse.
J'en prends un le matin d'habitude.
Rachel Garand is trying to enjoy the little things in life, but even the smallest luxuries are eating into her daily budget.
Yeah, very expensive.
The 80-year-old woman is looking for a new job. She currently works part-time, offering food samples at a large retail store. But earning a salary barely above minimum wage is not enough to make ends meet.
I'm looking for, new jobs.
Garand has fallen on hard financial times. She used to live in a house with someone else, but he passed away several years ago and the house was sold. Garand moved into an apartment, but as the cost of living piled up, so too did her bills. Her part-time job and monthly government pension checks weren't enough. Garand started using credit cards and family loans to pay her bills.
I did it because I didn't have enough money.
She says she owes more than $28,000. The word got out and someone reposted her story on Facebook, hoping to help her find a new job. She's getting a lot of support online. Within days, her story was shared more than 6,000 times.
Anybody else wake up a very disappointed Canadian today? Like, very disappointed? What's wrong with you liberal lovers? Seriously, do you not know what has happened to our country and what's about to happen? I am terrified for everyone's children.
I don't know if you've noticed this, but something is seriously broken in Canada right now. And honestly, I'm pissed off about it, and you should be too. We live in one of the wealthiest, most resource-rich countries on the planet, yet somehow regular Canadian families are drowning. So tell me how that makes sense. We've got more fresh water and land than almost anywhere else in the world, and yet grocery prices are skyrocketing. We've got more trees than any other country on earth, yet the price of lumber is so high that young Canadian families can't even dream of building a home anymore. And don't get me started on energy. Like, we sit on some of the largest oil and gas reserves in the world, but we pay some of the highest fuel prices on the planet. Meanwhile, other countries are leveraging our natural resources to build their wealth, while we tax Canadian families into the ground and pretend like everything's fine. But it's not fine. Not even close. I used to lie awake at night worrying about this stuff, worrying about my mortgage, worrying about my bills, worrying about how I was going to give my 7-year-old daughter the future she deserves when the middle class is disappearing right in front of my eyes. But then it hit me, like waiting for the government to fix this mess is a dead-end road, right? Nobody's coming to save us. Nobody's coming in on a white horse and is going to save you, right? That's when I decided I had to take back control of my own financial future, and I turned to digital marketing. And I'm not talking about some get-rich-quick garbage. I'm talking about learning a real beginner-friendly skill set that anyone can master, like how to build a simple online business, how to leverage platforms like TikTok to grow an audience, how to create systems that actually generate income even when you're sleeping. I didn't need to be tech savvy. I didn't need a business degree. I just needed to decide that I was done letting someone else control my own financial future. And listen, I get it. I'm not saying it's easy, right? But it is simple. And the best part is you don't have to wait for anybody's permission to start. I did this while working full time, raising a family and trying to keep my head above water. If I can figure this shit out, so can you. So look, if you are ready to stop relying on a broken system, just comment ready below. Follow me and stick around because on October 1st, I'm laying everything out step by step.
Tim Hortons owners, why you do not hire Canadian people for your franchises? Why are they all foreign workers and international students? The unemployment for youth is over 22%. And for the people that say, oh, the teenagers don't want to work, blah, blah, blah. That is a statistic because they are trying to work, but they can't work. So stop using that nonsense. Tim Hortons, you are a Canadian company, but you are hiring foreign people, not Canadians. When I go to a Tim Hortons, when I order, most of the time, they don't understand what I'm saying. Like if I say it in the regular accent, hey, I would like a medium double. And they are like, what did you say, sir? What did you say? Then I'm like, okay, fine. I would like a medium double. I also throw a French vanilla with that and everything bagel with toasted, double toasted because you guys don't toast things properly for some reason. Double toast the bloody thing and put urban garlic cream cheese or urban garlic cream cheese. Herb or herb? You tell me in the comments below which one is right. It's time for this now. It is time. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to boycott Tim Hortons. Do not go there anymore. These guys don't want to hire Canadians. I mean, I don't care if they hire a little bit of foreign workers here and there or international students, but it should be primarily Canadians. So Tim Hortons, your stocks will drop and we will no longer have your donuts with flies all over it and it's messed up. I used to work at Tim Hortons, by the way, and we did a fantastic job. But now your stuff is a mess. Let me know in the comments below, is it time to boycott this crappy company?
Ladies and gentlemen, let me say something that every Canadian feels in their bones, but is too afraid to say it out loud. Our government has forgotten who this country belongs to. If our government truly cared about its citizens, its Canadian-born citizens, there are 1,000 simple things they could be doing right now. But instead, they choose not to. Again and again and again. A government that cares about its people tracks what matters. Canada tracks carbon emissions, cow farts, tree counts, and milk quotas, but they refuse to track veteran suicides, crimes committed by refugee claimants, deaths caused by medical wait times, criminals released into communities, asylum seekers who disappear into the system, the real number of Canadians living homeless. Why? Because if you don't collect the data, you never have to fix the problem. And if you never fix the problem, you can pretend it doesn't exist. And if you never fix the problem, you can pretend it doesn't exist. That's not compassion. That's the definition of political cowardice. A government that cares puts its people first, not last. We are living in a housing crisis of historic proportions. Canadian seniors sleeping in shelters. Canadian families living in cars. Canadian citizens outbid by billionaires and corporations. Yet, somehow, every week, people who arrive yesterday receive faster services than those who have paid into the system their entire adult lives. If this government cared, they would say, veterans first, seniors first, families first, Canadians first. But they can't say it, and it just shows that they're terrified of their own citizens. Canadians deserve a government that cares to protect its borders. They would screen every single person entering this country, just like you screen anybody you would allow into your home. They would reject violent offenders. They would deport those who harm Canadians. They would stop rewarding illegal entry with permanent status. Instead, they created a system where they punish the people who follow the rules and reward the people who break them. They'll lecture you on compassion while demanding for you to stay silent when Canadians are harmed. A government that cares protects women and children. This should be the simplest thing in the world. Protect women's sports, protect women's prisons, protect women's shelters, protect women's change rooms, protect women's hospital wards. But instead, they blur the lines. They ignore the risks. They silence the women who speak up. And they gaslight the public by calling common sense hate. A government that cares fixes healthcare before expanding it. Canadian wait times, 12 hours in the ER, months for specialists, years for surgeries. Some don't survive the wait. Yet, this government, for some reason, stretches an already broken system to cover the whole world, while the very people who built the system sit at the back of the line. A government that cares protects Canadian jobs. They could support Canadian trades, Canadian apprentices, Canadian manufacturing, Canadian families with children, Canadian homeowners, Canadian small businesses. But instead, they bend over backwards for corporations, foreign investors, and global organizations, while Canadian families drown in taxes, inflation, and shortages. The part that stings the worst is this is not incompetence. This is a series of deliberate choices that send one message loud and clear. Canadians are expected to sacrifice. Everyone else is expected to benefit. A country cannot survive when its own citizens come last. A nation is a family, and no family survives if the parents feed the neighbors before they feed their own children. So what do Canadians need? We need a government that loves its people again, that protects its borders, that protects its women, that protects its veterans, that protects its families, that protects its culture, that protects its country, period. Because if Canada doesn't stand up for Canadians, who else will?
If what we just talked about makes you angry, good. It should, because real change has never come from silence. It comes from people who are tired of watching their country crumble while the rich get richer and the working class gets squeezed to nothing. Canada didn't become broken overnight, and it won't fix itself. Our politicians won't fix it. Corporations won't fix it. The wealthy won't fix it. The only people who can speak up for Canadian equity are Canadians. So don't stay silent. Don't pretend everything is okay. If this video reflects the reality around you, the inflation, the housing crisis, the homelessness, the crime, the hopelessness, then share it. Talk about it. Comment about it. Let your voice be heard, because when millions of people sleep through what's happening, that's exactly how countries collapse. We're not ranting because we hate Canada. We're ranting because we love it. We remember the Canada that gave hope, the Canada that lifted people up, the Canada where hard work meant stability, and where families could dream instead of survive. And that Canada is worth fighting for. So keep speaking up. Keep calling out the problems. Keep exposing what's happening. Because the more people talk about it, the harder it becomes for the government and corporations to ignore us. This is our home. This is our country, and we refuse to watch it die quietly. Thank you for watching. If you stand with this message, like, share, comment, and make sure you subscribe so we keep this conversation alive. This was the Canadian Rant, and we'll be back soon because the fight for our Canada is far from over.